Now I invite Professor Dr. Zafar Nawaz Jaspal, Vice Chancellor, Quaid-i-Azam University, a renowned scholar in international relations and strategic studies, to share his academic perspective on evolving security paradigm. Sir, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Jana Saab, Federal Minister Saab, and other honorable participants, and especially President of COPAIR, Ms. Amna and the Chairman of COPAIR. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to speak on this very important occasion when we are celebrating Marka-e-Haq. It gives me a pleasure because if you see my generation, when we started schooling and ended up and then started teaching, we were stuck with one syndrome, which we call it 1971 syndrome, bad memory. But at least, luckily, now we have a pleasant memory, and now we have a Marka-e-Haq to celebrate. So it's a big, big achievement and change of, you can say, complete perceptions. At the Quaid-i-Azam University, we are celebrating this entire Marka-e-Haq since last week, and I'm seeing how this new or young generation is happy because they have seen what happened last year. So it's a fresh memory of a victory, and victory has its own dynamics. Having said this, how I'm looking the Marka-e-Haq, I divide my presentation keeping in mind Marka-e-Haq, before Marka-e-Haq and after. Before, we were treated differently by the international community. We were struggling as a middle power to gain what we call it a space in the international community, and at the same time, we were facing a more than a 3-decade built up by West, by United States, India as a net security provider in the Indian Ocean, and at the same time we were seeing ITU-2 or Quad in the Western and Eastern Indian Ocean, and as a result India was treated, or India started saying their leadership, India's Ocean rather than Indian Ocean. So that was a big shift in their thinking in the last 30 years with the connivance of the Western powers. And then when Marka-e-Haq happened, during that period, starting from 22 April, what J.D. Vance was saying, we shall cooperate with India for eliminating the terrorist sanctuaries on the Pakistani territory. This was a narrative. Despite this, the government of Pakistan handed over a wanted terrorist involved in the Kabul Abbey Gate bombing. But we were not able, despite our sacrifices, to get back our stature or what is the need in the community of the nation or the Western power. And then Marka-e-Haq happened. But it's a very interesting, already it was mentioned, let me repeat it. India has been growing itself as a blue water navy. They came up with their naval aircraft to have a psychological victory. But when they saw Pakistani Navy's preparation, it went back. It was a first step of a victory in the naval domain. Then they strike in the wee hours of the 7th September, what we call it May. Air Force hit them. We did not cross. We did not hit any school or madrasa. So our Air Force remained within the domain of what you call it just war theory, making a distinction between combatant and non-combatant, and we were able to knock them out. They were hitting the madrasas, mosques, or civilians. Then came 3, 4, you can say 8, 9, and then the D-Day, that was 10th. They crossed the limit. They escalated vertically. The war when they used the BrahMos, it's a nuclear-capable missile, cruise missile, and as a retaliation of the armed forces, they were hit at 26 targets and that force also eliminated. So that is the way how we now celebrate that all the armed, you can say, tiers of the armed forces, they were, you can say, successful, demonstrated, technologically well equipped, or you can say trained. Now what we gain from this Marka-e-Haq, that is more important. The first gain is that today you and I, as I said earlier, celebrating. We gain a confidence that our armed forces can defend, our armed forces are capable to defend us, and our political leadership is capable to build a narrative which justify that it was a defensive move, not an offensive, and we are capable to train, equip ourselves, and we are now in the community of nations and establish middle power. So it was reckoned. So victory as it changes, second development. Though we are a nuclear weapon state, a responsible nuclear weapon state, but conventionally capable to defend us, our confidence risen, and now we are able to say we have a nuclear capability, but threshold is higher. Conventionally, we are able to deter, defend, and defeat the enemy, which is 7 times bigger than us. Third development, numerically, you can say bigger armed forces doesn't make any difference. Training and what you call it resilience makes a difference, and our armed forces and people demonstrate it. And the fourth, if you see, it exposed, it destroyed the compelling strategy of the India, which it was selling to the entire world, and that's why the Western powers were saying it's a great power. India is no more great power because it was checkmated and defeated. So in the South Asia, it has been reduced to what now they call Indo-Pak. Earlier they were saying Indo-China or F-Pak. It was hyphenated again that in this region 2 middle power, and one middle power is shining and the other middle power is declining despite its big resources. Then the 6th point here I can bring, if you see prior to the Marka-e-Haq, there was a narrative which was bought entirely by the entire world, which Modi started from 2014 but especially 2016. I will isolate Pakistan. Pakistan is isolated. But what has happened? After Marka-e-Haq and completion of Operation Banyan and Mahsoos, we are seeing India is now isolated, Pakistan is shining. This is a significant development and tangible evidence what our political military leadership have been doing, mediating, establishing ceasefire, and as a result, extending it and peace in the neighborhood, trying for it. Today, diplomatically speaking, Pakistani leadership is welcomed not only in Washington, or you can say Moscow, as well as Beijing, great powers. In the region, all Arab states and Iran. So that's the achievement. When we look about this kind of a thing, I think one can confidently today say that Marka-e-Haq proven the skillfulness, proficiency of the political civil leadership, ruling elite, as well as professional, you can say, training of the armed forces and their leadership. Of course, we had a long way. We shall be prepared. But at the same time, I think it's a time to celebrate and continue to live with this, you can say, big achievement of Marka-e-Haq. Thank you very much.